Howdy, folks. I'm a yellow, yodeling, yoked yak, yanking, yammering yams.
I'm an asleep Amber.
And here are some more yammering yams that aren't asleep for us to yank. Alright, folks. Our first letter on this Sunday morning special is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Husband That He Has No Say Over Our Children? My husband is a 50-year-old male, and I'm a 44-year-old female. And we have 3 kids, Emma, a 20-year-old female, Zach, a 16-year-old male, and Haley, a 19-year-old female. Haley and Emma moved out this year. Emma went to college while Haley moved in with her fiancé from the moment my husband, 50-year-old male, found out that she was doing so. He did not approve, saying that he didn't think that it was safe and didn't approve of her not going to college. Something that should also be known is that I had Haley from a past fling. Me and my husband, 50-year-old male, were in an open relationship, and I ended up getting pregnant and decided to keep her. I can't help but laugh. It was one whole sentence.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make fun of the OP here, but I was like waiting for a pause, reading, and like there's no pause. There's no pause. Haley has never planned on going to college. She is a very free-spirited girl and wants to live her life and learn as she goes. I have never had a problem with this because that's how I was at her age, but my husband, a 50-year-old male, doesn't think that it's appropriate for her to be this way. Things came to a head when my daughter, Haley, a 19-year-old female, came to get the rest of her things from our house 2 days ago when I happened to be at work. My husband, a 50-year-old male, works from home, and he was there when she came home to get her things. And what he told me as to what happened is that Haley walked into the house and went to her room, and then my husband locked her in it. Haley started banging on the door, telling him to let her out. But my husband kept saying no, and that she needed to stay in there and think about her ways and repent from her sins. Our family is in no way religious, so I don't know where this came from. And I came home 3 hours later to find my husband sitting in front of her door with a chair and Haley screaming in her room. I immediately asked what he was doing, and he looked at me with the calmest face and told me that he was making Haley rethink her decision. I immediately pushed him out of the way and opened the door. My little girl ran to me crying, saying that he had locked her in there for 4 hours and was telling her to repent from her sins. I immediately went off on my husband and told him that he has no say on what any of our children are to do with their lives. They are adults and all capable of making their own decisions. Where I think that I might be the jerk is because I also said that Haley is not his kid, so he has no power over her whatsoever. He then started crying and said that maybe if I wasn't such a inappropriate word, then Haley wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be in the situation. He then left and hasn't been answering his phone or text messages. I don't know what to do here. Our marriage has been perfect up until now, but I can't get over what he said to my daughter. Alright, folks, what do you think of this one?
I mean, I don't think that you're the jerk here, OP. He was literally falsely imprisoning your daughter. Yeah, under other circumstances, maybe it would be a little harsh to throw back in his face that he's not her bio dad. She's a grown adult. She should be able to make her own decisions. And since he didn't have any authority over her, he decided to physically make it so she could not leave the house. Like, that is traumatizing. That is illegal. And so, yeah, I'm not gonna put any blame on you for this.
You know, I wouldn't blame Haley if she called the police and filed a police report against her husband for false imprisonment. What he did here was unethical. It was wrong. She's an adult. She's allowed to make her own decisions. He doesn't have the ability to restrain people. This is, like Amber said, illegal. I understand relationships are complicated and you've had a perfect relationship up to this point, but he's done something pretty unforgivable. There's something completely unhinged, and he doesn't show any remorse for it. He was calm, in fact, when he was doing this? Did he expect to just let her sit there for as long as she needed to be? What was he expecting to happen here?
I mean, I think just have her break down and admit to that she was going to stay.
Yeah. So, OP, I don't think that you're wrong here. I think that your husband needs some serious help. I think that he needs to go to a therapist if he thought this was at all a suitable way to handle a situation. And he needs to reevaluate his life decisions because this is, quite frankly, not appropriate at all.
Mm-hmm.
So let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Lennial says, if this is a complete change in character, I would suggest getting your husband checked out by a doctor. And then there's just a couple of comments here picking on OP. It seems like hour and college. People also pointing out that OP didn't have any punctuation. They didn't ask if they were a jerk for not writing their sentences right, folks.
Yeah.
And John Redcorn Massage says, not the jerk. That's at minimum false imprisonment. A serious felony. Trying to control women, especially by force, is also a massive red flag. And you say what now? I can't even begin to imagine what's going on in your husband's head to behave like that, especially if he isn't even one of those religious extremists. Something wrong there, especially if it's a big change from his normal previous behavior. Can you insist on him getting some therapy, counseling, and or maybe some wider health checks? Wishing you and all of your kids happiness along with whatever life path they choose to follow. I think that this is actually probably a good point, that there may be some deeper medical issue going on here. At the very least, he does need to seek out therapy, but if he has something else going on inside of his head, then that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, there are some physical conditions that can cause sudden, like brain tumors and whatnot, they can cause sudden changes in people's personality and, you know, make people aggressive when they weren't before. So it is definitely worth checking out a doctor if this is really out of character.
Yeah. All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling a Restaurant Owner that the name of his place didn't really match the cuisine or culture that he was trying to represent? My girlfriend and I went out to eat last night. A new restaurant opened within walking distance, so we decided to try it. It's called Lime. So we were thinking that it was Mexican food. We get there, and in tiny letters below the word lime, it said Vietnamese kitchen. I was in the mood for Mexican, but my girlfriend said that she was too hungry to get in the car and drive to our favorite Mexican good place, so we stayed. I have to say that the food was amazing, and I've never had Vietnamese before, but I literally could not get past the name. Limes are part of Mexican culture, and it seemed totally inappropriate to appropriate it for a place that had no citrus fruit. Isn't Vietnam, like, on the equator? Why would it not have citrus fruit? Like, not on the equator, but, you know, near the equator, equatorial region. I asked to see the owner, and I complimented on how good the food was. He said thank you and said that he's happy how busy he's been. When I told him that I thought the name was inappropriate, he said that his grandparents came over as boat person, and he was happy to have their help naming the place. I said that maybe he should think about changing the name because it implies Mexican food and limes aren't in Asia. He asked really rudely, does it look like I have time for this discussion? I said that I was only trying to help. He said that he didn't need my help and stormed off. My girlfriend said that I should have just let it go and that I embarrassed her. Like I said, something just rubbed me the wrong way and I felt that I needed to speak up. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not only are you the jerk, but you're also deeply misinformed. Like, limes are not unique to Mexico. There are lots of other cuisines that use citrus fruits in their dishes. And so I think that, yeah, you were a major jerk. Like, even if you had been right, like there are no limes in Vietnam, is it really your place to tell the owner to change the name? And then secondly, you're not even right.
Adding on to what Amber has to say, I just had to look this up because I really was not sure about the cuisine of Vietnamese, and it looks like they might use lime leaves in many of their dishes, kaffir lime leaves. All of this is just not even addressing the real point, and the real point here is that, OP, why did you need to say anything? Why did you feel it was necessary for you to say something? I don't even think limes are a naturally occurring food. I think it's one of those ones that humans have engineered over throughout time, right? Weren't natively available in nature. But aside from all that, just OP, mind your own business. Don't tell people what their culture is or isn't.
Well, that's the thing, is like, yeah, you made a poor assumption about what type of cuisine it had based on the name, but just because it's inconvenient to you doesn't mean that it's going to be a big problem for everyone else.
Yeah, so what I get from here is OP was craving for Mexican food and was forced to go to a non-Mexican restaurant and then enjoyed it. And he was just so annoyed by enjoying this food and getting good food that he had to complain to the owner about being deceived that this wasn't Mexican food. Grow up. Just grow up, OP. That's my thoughts right here. But let me know what you folks think that OP should do. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Senpai says, "You're the jerk. You wanted Mexican food and he betrayed you with their name. Oh boy, you missed some grades and classes at school." And OP replies, "I have a master's degree, please." Fearless 1989 Repras says, "Lies." I mean, I don't think that it's necessary to insult people over their education or whatnot.
Yeah, well, and people with master's degrees can still be arrogant and stuck in their own heads.
Yeah, they can be even more arrogant. I mean, it can be, like, this isn't the case for every single person who has higher degrees, but there are a lot of people with higher degrees who feel like they know everything, and you can't have a discussion with them. They will argue and say they know better, even if they don't, right? And this could be one of those cases where he thinks he knows best, and he knows everything, and he won't be bothered to be argued with.
Yeah, well, then I'd say it's a small minority, but yeah, they can be a very vocal minority.
Yeah.
And it tends to be also that when people are really uninformed about things, they tend to be like the most sure of themselves. And if he's never experienced Vietnamese cuisine, he could just make the assumption that, of course, they don't have limes, they only have noodles.
Yeah. And OP replies, "I absolutely do," from Rutgers. And Solia says, "You're the jerk and you're an idiot. Limes are literally native to Asia, as are all citrus fruits." Edit ad, "I want to say this isn't real, it's just flame bait, but people." And OP replies, "What's flame bait?" And Solia says, "A made-up story designed to promote anger online." And OP replies, "I mean, people are giving input, but this isn't making anyone angry."
I like how you can decide that no one was made angry.
Yeah. Alright, folks, and our last letter is an update. Our update is titled, "Am I the jerk for not letting my sister use the family property for her upcoming wedding?" And this one was the one where OP has a rental property they use for weddings, and their sister just decided that they were going to have their wedding on a day without telling OP. And basically, OP's like, "No, there's another couple getting married on that day. You can choose from all these other dates." And their sister wasn't happy about it. So let's dive into this one. So the mods blocked the update, so I hope people see this and the original. "Thank you all for your love, comments, and opinions. It was quite overwhelming. It has been busy. Sorry it took so long. Also, what's with the aggressive writing in all caps in the comments? First, I would like to say that I did leave out a bunch of background information and the history between my family and I. People had concerns about the comments that I made about my little sister and putting her in the middle of things. I didn't end up asking her, but she still helped out a lot. In regards to the other couple that booked the day, I did not and will not cancel on them. I invited them out to the property and to a nice dinner. We had a good time and I explained what was happening. I said that I would not cancel on them. I offered added security, requested a guest list, and a main point of contact for guest questions, and a discount for just in case things happened. They understood and accepted the new terms and offer. I do have a lawyer, and I sent her cease and desist letters to my sister, mother, and their friends, and all the other family members who were making false reviews and talking bad about my business. That went over well. Sarcasm. She also said not to share my details to get better reviews. On to my sister and mom, I told them both that it was my property, not ours, and it's not the family property, it's mine. I told them that under no circumstances were they allowed to show up on the date in question. I had offered several different solutions, all of which were rejected. All I asked in the beginning was for an immediate response to when they figured out the date and wanted to get married. If it was any other venue and they tried this, it would not work. Just because I'm running it doesn't give them special treatment or priority. They argued and I shut them down. If they want to have their wedding here, they need to call for a date. Now my younger sister was able to find the invitation list and sent it to me. I guess my older sister left it up on her computer. All of the people that RSVP'd, I sent an email/text saying that the venue is not where the wedding will be at, and it was never reserved under the bride and groom's name. The groom reached out to me and asked if I was serious about not having the date reserved. Apparently she told his side that she had it covered and not to worry about it. He apologized and mentioned that they knew the date for over a year now. He said that he has a lot to think about. Now, since that talk, everything is quiet, and I'm scared. Usually, when my sister is quiet, one of two things happen. One, it's about to get painful, and two, an eruption is imminent. That's all for now. I'll keep you all posted. I'm not sure where I'll update, but this is not over. Also, sorry for the people asking for my venue details. I don't want to share it here due to me trying to keep things anonymous. Also, I'm in North America. All right, folks, what do you think of that update?
I mean, I think it's a good thing that OP was able to work with the other couple and make sure they're going to have a nice day. It's too bad his mom and sister are still not backing down, but at least he should have everything in place to make sure they can't sabotage the other wedding. Best of luck, OP, dealing with whatever shenanigans she's going to pull now. But it sounds like you have a good legal team and are doing things as you're supposed to. So hopefully that works for you.
Yeah, I just feel so bad for OP here. It seems like they really wanted to treat this property like it was theirs as well, and they thought that they had the authority to go ahead and do this. And I can only imagine the pain and frustration that OP is going through right now.
Yeah, well, can you imagine, like, any other business, like, oh, I'm not going to tell you about this thing, and I know you're running a business, but, like, now you all of a sudden have to make, like, 40 orders for me tomorrow because you're family. Like, it's just that kind of ridiculous logic. It doesn't fly. This is a business OP is running, and you can't just, like, cancel on paying customers because sister decided, well, it's my day.
Yeah. So I just feel bad again for OP because this is really just not something they brought on themselves. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got a beverage of choice right here, and Amber's got a joke that she made up just a few minutes ago.
Where do large horned mammals go to train?
Where do large horned mammals go to train? So back in my day, I used to train a lot, and when I was training, I would see large horned animals around, and it was often on the sides of cliffs, like goats, for instance. And so there were a lot of goats out there, and that's where they would train, is on the edge of cliffs.
I mean, that's one place, but they also might go to a yak track.
A yak track? Yeah, sure. And I have Mega Mint. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy special Sunday. And of course, you know what makes it special? You do. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please, have it the slogan for a scenic resort.
You gotta notify in advance or you won't get your chance.
Yeah, I think that works. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.